as there's the whistle. Here's the opening tip. Tip back, controlled by Monroe. As bringing up is Sealer. Sealer over the blockades, over center court. Sealer on the near wing. Slips it back to Peters. Peters into the paint. Peters bounce pass over on the far side. That ball won't drop down. It's Kelly's shot bounced off the back of the rim. And here comes DeWolf. DeWolf over center court. DeWolf stops, steps back. Looks to her right-hand side. DeWolf throws it to Bogan. On the far wing, down to Clark. Underneath. Clark puts it up. Rimmed off. And Monroe with the rebound. Coming the other direction. Peters kicked it over to Sealer. Sealer brings it over midcourt. Sealer switches directions as she's on the near wing. Kicks it into the corner to Bustle. Back to Sealer. Sealer, top of the key. Hands it off. Coming on the near side to Peters. Over to Bustle. Bustle at the free throw line. Over to Sealer. Sealer's into the paint. Puts it up. Won't fall. DeWolf with the rebound. DeWolf going the other direction. DeWolf throws it ahead. Trying to get it to Bogan. Just out of her reach. That will go back over to Monroe. 7:04 left to go here in this, the first quarter. 0-0 is our score. Sealer bringing it down the court. Sealer stepping over the blockades over midcourt. Comes over to the near side being watched by Hicks. Sealer on the near wing. Gets it over to Peters. Peters has that knocked away. Hicks got her hand to knock the ball away. DeWolf heading the other direction over center court. DeWolf kicks it to Bogan on the far wing. Bogan coming in, top of the paint. Gets it over to DeWolf. Underneath to Turman. Turman puts it up. It would not fall off the back of the rim, off the front of the rim. As Bustle gets the rebound. Bustle over center court. Still scoreless at this moment in time. Bustle hands it off to Peters. Peters going from the far side to the other side over to Sealer. Sealer at the free throw line. Gets over on the far wing. Now into the paint. Throws it up. That bounces off the rim. Grabbed by DeWolf with the rebound. DeWolf quickly up to Bogan. Bogan just outside the arc on the near side. Moves it all the way in the far corner. To Hicks. Over to DeWolf. Turman has it right at the free throw line. Turman going baseline on the far side. Back to DeWolf. DeWolf into the paint. Puts it up and puts it in. Nice little finger roll off the left hand for DeWolf. Pioneer has the 2-0 lead here. 5:50 left to go in the first. Sealer brings it over center court on the near sideline. Sealer working her way to the arc. Kicks it over to Bustle. Bustle. Bounce pass to Kelly just outside the paint on the near side. Kelly trying to go baseline low into the low post. She gets her own rebound. Kicks it on the far side. There's a shot that bounces around by Leroy. Wouldn't fall. Sealer puts it out. That bouncing over center. That will be over and back. And that will go to Pioneer. 5:27 left to go here in the first. It is Pioneer 2. Monroe nothing. Heavily defensive fought game as Hicks inbounds it right in front of us. Kicks it to DeWolf. DeWolf right on the edge of the blockades. Goes over center court. DeWolf coming, approaching the arc. Calls out signals. DeWolf goes on to the far wing. Bounce pass to Hicks. Centered up along the arc over to Turman. Turman underneath to Clark. Over on the far side to DeWolf. Back to Clark underneath baseline. Kicks it off to Bogan. Over to Hicks. Hicks with the three-pointer that off the back of the rim. Would not fall. Turman kicks it out on three-point line. Now that pulled down. Bustle comes all the way down. Kicks it over to Peters. Peters for a long two-pointer. That would not fall. Bogan gets it. Keeps it from going out of bounds. That gotten back to Bustle. Bustle kicks over to Sealer. Sealer on the far wing. Over to Kelly in the far corner. Kelly gets it back to Sealer on that far wing. Sealer steps along the far sideline. Gets it over to Bustle. Bustle works around the arc now. Peters with the three-pointer. That off the front of the rim. Hicks with an excellent rebound. Over to DeWolf. DeWolf comes down the near sideline. Over midcourt. DeWolf approaches the arc. Now steps back. Looks to her right-hand side. Kicks over to Hicks on the far wing. Hicks trying to dump it down to Clark. Clark gets it out to Turman. Turman over to Bogan. Bogan with the three-pointer. And that's going down. Excellent job by Bogan. 4 minutes and 7 seconds left to go here in the first. It is Pioneer 5 and Monroe nothing. Sealer comes up into the paint. Foul called. Maya Hicks gets called for the foul. First foul of the game. Sealer to the line. Shooting two. I have to forgive me, Mr. Chad Bush, play-by-play man of Eastern Michigan basketball. I almost stole his Splash City for the three-pointer. Snap Inbound quickly up, and that will be a traveling. That call goes over to Pioneer. Turman to inbound. Baseline right. Inbounded to DeWolf. DeWolf brings it up the far sideline. DeWolf. Over center court. DeWolf now dribbles to the right-hand side, working her way around the arc, kicks it over to Stewart. Stewart moves over to Turman. Turman bounce pass inside to Clark, gets it back. There's a shot. Three-pointer by Stewart. That one just off, bounced off. And rebounded by Monroe. Coming up, Sealer. Sealer has it right at the arc. Sealer throws up the three-pointer of her own. That bounces out of the rim as it bounced on the back, the front. Great rebound by Pioneer as Turman got the rebound over to DeWolf. DeWolf brings it over center court. DeWolf centered up about 5 feet outside of the arc. Now works her way to her right. DeWolf on the far wing. Kicks it over to Stewart. Stewart moves the ball in the near corner to Bogan. Bogan bounce pass to Clark underneath. Clark in the paint. Clark puts it up. No contact. That wouldn't fall. Coming up, Sealer the other direction. Sealer over center court. Sealer approaches the arc. Stutter steps, now steps back on the near wing, moves it into the near corner to Peters. Peters, bounce pass on the far side to Bustle. Bustle into the paint. That ball off on the far side. That to Paul Licky. As that ball went over, it'll go all the way back to Pioneer. 2:46 left to go here in the first quarter. Pioneer up 5-0 on Monroe. Hicks back in the game to inbound on the baseline to our right. Gets it over to DeWolf. Bryan's in, as well as Stewart and Clark, your other starters, or your other people on the court for Pioneer, as DeWolf approaches the three-point line. Works her way to her right. Now cuts in. Moves it all the way over to Stewart on the near wing. Stewart trying to get it underneath the Clark. That went off of a foot. Out of bounds. 2:27 left to go here in the first quarter. Pioneer to inbound. DeWolf underneath her own basket. DeWolf kicks all the way back to Stewart. Stewart with a shot from the free throw line. That would not fall for her. Clark with the rebound. Clark kicks it to Stewart in the far corner. Over to DeWolf. DeWolf works her way into the paint, puts it up, would not fall. DeWolf gets her own rebound, kicks it to Hicks. Hicks puts up a shot. That bounced off of the rim. Again, would not fall. Spinning with it on the far side. Troughton kicks it over. Saved by Bustle. Bustle picks it up. Out of bounds. That will go to Pioneer. Hicks will inbound it right in front of us. 2 minutes to go. Left to go in this. The first quarter. Pioneer up 5-0 on the Trojans. Coming up is Stewart. Stewart kicks it over to DeWolf. DeWolf has it. Top of the key. Goes to her right. Foul called. That's going to be on Clark. That is going to be Pioneer's second foul. So Monroe went inbound as they have it along the far boards. Kaminsky comes up with it. Kaminsky kicks it over to Paul Licky. Paul Licky in the middle to Leroy. Leroy puts it up. That couldn't find its way down, out of bounds, and over to Pioneer. Turman to inbound. Baseline right. Over to Bogan. Bogan bringing the ball up. Gets over the blockades, over midcourt. Bogan calling out signals. She dribbles over along the far sideline. Kicks it to Hicks. Hicks over to Stewart. To Bryan's in the near corner. Bryan's bounce pass over to Hicks. Hicks centered up. Now gets it over to Bogan. Bogan gets into the paint. Puts it up. Just a little too strong. Would not fall. Sealer with the rebound. Sealer over center court. Sealer brings it up on the far wing. Kicks it along the far sideline to Paul Licka. Paul Licka works his way around the arc. Gets it over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky on the baseline. Makes it off of the board and in. As it's Pioneer 5 and Monroe 2. 55 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Monroe with their first points by Kaminsky. Bryan's has it on the near wing, right around the arc. Moves it to Hicks. Hicks back to Bryan's. Bryan's kicks it into the corner for Stewart. Stewart bounce pass over to Hicks. Hicks on the near wing. Hicks working away around the arc. Gets into the paint. Hicks trying to put it up. Contact made. They'll call a travel on that one. 35.1 seconds left to go. That's going to go over to Monroe. Pioneer with the 5-2 lead. Inbounding to Kaminsky. Kaminsky bringing it up over center. Kaminsky comes to the near side, being watched by Brines. Brines keeping tight coverage with her. Kaminsky hands it off to Trouton. Trouton trying to get into the paint. They'll call holding on Stewart. That'll be the third foul call on Pioneer. Pioneer with 3 fouls. Monroe without any. 22.4 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Pioneer with the 5-2 lead. Trouton inbounds it. We're on the far side to Leroy. Leroy into the paint. Leroy puts it up with the right hand, bounces around and down. It's Pioneer 5 and Monroe 4. 12 seconds left to go. Bogan brings it over center, kicks it to Hicks along the far sideline. Hicks, long cross-court pass over to Bogan. Bogan moves it. That's stolen away by Kaminsky. Kaminsky puts it up and in. And Monroe takes the lead into the end of the first quarter, as it's Pioneer 5, Monroe 6 at the end of the first quarter. Inbounding is Hicks right in front of us. DeWolf taking it up. Pioneer going from right to left here in this first half. Kicks it over to Stewart along the far sideline. Stewart moves it, trying to get it underneath to Clark. Clark over to Turman. Turman puts it up. Contact made. It's going to be on Trouton. Illegal use of hands. Turman at the line, shooting 2. 7:48 left to go here in the second quarter. Turman puts it up and in. We are tied at 6 apiece. One more free throw coming for Ashanti. She eyes it, puts it up, puts it in. Pioneer with the 5-6 lead at 7:48. 7-6 lead. 7:45 left to go here in the first quarter. Trouton brings it up, approaches the arc on the near wing. Trouton gives it over to Sealer. Sealer looking for a place to go. Stewart watching her. Sealer goes to her right, gets to the free throw line, kicks it over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky with a 15-footer. That wouldn't fall for her. Turman with the rebound. Turman gives it over to DeWolf. DeWolf gets it to Hicks. Hicks makes her way down the baseline from the far side. That wouldn't fall. Trouton with the rebound. Over to Sealer. Sealer bringing the ball up. Stewart giving full court pressure. That kicked into the far corner to Pawlicki. Over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky working away from the far side to the near side. Gets it to Trouton. Trouton on the near wing. Trouton trying to get it below. Over to Leroy. That kicked over. Bouncing shot off of the rim by Pawlicki. Giving it back to Kaminsky. Kaminsky over to Sealer along the far sideline. That back to Kaminsky. Kaminsky on the far wing, hands it off to Sealer. Sealer with about a 25-foot shot. That wouldn't fall. DeWolf has it, Hicks has it, head to DeWolf. DeWolf approaches the three-point line on the near wing, gets it over to Hicks. Hicks trying to bounce it underneath to Clark. That knocked away. Sealer coming the other direction. DeWolf trying to hang with her. Sealer kicks it off the board a little too hard. Clark with the rebound. Quickly the other direction. Stewart coming down the far sideline. Stewart into the paint. Stewart contact made. 6:19 left to go here in the second half. Pioneer 9. Pawlicki called for the foul, number 22. Stewart shooting 2 at the line. Pioneer with 3 fouls. Monroe with 2. Stewart dribbles it, eyes the basket, puts it up, puts it in. Pioneer extends the lead 6-8. One more free throw coming for Stewart. Bussell and Kelly back in for Monroe. Stewart dribbling the ball, eyes the basket, puts up her second free throw, and it would not fall down. Trouton with the rebound, ahead to Bussell. 6:15 left to go here before halftime. Pioneer 8 and Monroe 6. Bussell has it on the far wing, kicks it over along the far sideline to Pawlicki underneath. Trouton comes down the near baseline, bounces it underneath to Kelly. That wouldn't fall. Bouncing off the rim. Bryans with the rebound. Bryans feeds it off the far side to Stewart. Stewart on the far wing. Stewart, far sideline, kicks it underneath to DeWolf. DeWolf puts it up. Whistle, as it wouldn't fall for her. But that is going to be a foul on Sealer. 5:55 left to go. 5:50 left to go here before halftime. DeWolf puts up the first free throw. That makes it Pioneer 9 and Monroe 6. Peters and Paul Lickey come in. DeWolf puts up her next free throw, rims out. Pioneer with the 9-6 lead. 5:45 left to go here before halftime. Kaminsky comes down the far sideline, gets it over to Peters, then gets it back. She's right at midcourt line, goes from the far side to the near side, looking for a screen. That put underneath, trying to get to Kelly. That knocked away by Clark. Grabbed by Bryan, sent ahead to Bogan. Bogan over to DeWolf, coming down the near baseline. DeWolf kicks it back, free throw line. Shot by Bogan. That wouldn't fall. Clark trying to get the rebound. Clark puts it up and in. 5:16 left to go before halftime. Clark's shot makes it 11-6 lead by Pioneer. Kaminsky over to Peters along the near sideline. Peters working away from the near side to the far side. Hands it off to Bustle. Bustle centered up. 5 feet outside. Puts it underneath to Clark. Clark has it knocked away. Or excuse me, that was Kelly. Has it knocked away by Clark. DeWolf brings it all the way up court. Kicks it to Bryans on the near wing. Over to DeWolf. DeWolf trying to get it underneath the Clark. Clark puts it up and in. 4:45 left to go before halftime. Pioneer extends the lead. Kaminsky brings it over center court. Kaminsky kicks it on the far side to Peters. Peters quickly on the near side to Bustle. Bustle on the near wing. Works her way down to the baseline, trying to kick it back. Free throw line. Over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky trying to get it to Kelly underneath. That put up by Paul Lickey. Knocked away by Clark. Out of bounds. That will stay with Monroe, but Clark getting the block. 4:28 to go before halftime. Pioneer 13. Monroe 6. Stewart in for Pioneer. Sealer gets the ball around the arc. There's Peters with the three-pointer as that won't fall. Grabbed by Bryans. Bryans kicks it out on the far side to DeWolf. DeWolf moves it to Stewart. Stewart along the far sideline. Back to DeWolf, centered up, working around the arc. Over to Bryans on the near wing. Bryans getting it to Bogan in the corner. Bogan works her way, kicks it over along the far sideline to Stewart. Now DeWolf has it in the far corner. Back to Stewart. Stewart into the paint. Puts up a floater. Bouncing off the rim. But Stewart gets her own rebound. Stewart kicks back up in the middle. That knocked down. Kelly grabs the rebound. Gets it to Sealer. Sealer bringing it up the court. Over center. Calling out signals. Kicks it to Peters along the far sideline. Peters over to Bustle on the near wing. Bustle working her way into the arc, trying to get it to Kelly. That off of her foot. Battle for it. That will be a jump ball. Possession arrow pointing Monroe's way. Monroe will inbound it underneath their own basket. 3:38 left to go here before halftime. Hicks comes back in, replacing DeWolf, giving DeWolf a breather. Pioneer 13. And Monroe 6. Sealer has it along the far wing. Bounce pass underneath, trying to get it to Paul Lickey. Bounces on either side of the rim, then down. Pioneer 13, Monroe 8. 3:27 left to go here before halftime. Hicks brings it over midcourt. Hicks kicks it to Bogan on the near wing. Hicks gets it back, trying to knock it away. Sealer. Hicks corrals the loose ball, kicks it to Bogan on the near wing. Bogan working her way around the arc, now steps back. Centered up, Bogan. Kicks it into the near corner for Stewart. Stewart all the way cross pass over to Bogan. Bogan bounces it over to Hicks. Hicks coming down the far baseline. Peters takes the foul. Inbounded to Stewart in the near corner. Stewart into the paint, puts it up. It would not fall. Foul on Parker. Stewart shooting 2. Pioneer 13. Monroe 8. First rebound would not fall for Stewart. She'll get another one. 2:56 left to go before halftime. Stewart at the line. Dribbles. Spins the ball. Looks up at the hoop. Puts it up. Puts it in. Pioneer 14, Monroe 8, 2:56 left to go. Sealer ahead to Kelly. Kelly kicks it on the far side to Peters. Peters coming down the far sideline. Comes to the near side. Over to Sealer. Sealer into the near corner trying to put it underneath to Kelly. As excellent job knocking it away by Hicks. That's going to go right back to Monroe though. A good defensive play underneath the ball to knock it away. Leroy comes back in for some height for Monroe underneath. Leroy gets it on the far side over to Sealer. Sealer kicks it along the far sideline to Paul Licky. That knocked away by Clark. Clark stealing the pass away, giving it over to DeWolf. DeWolf over center court. DeWolf kicks it along the far sideline to Stewart. Stewart, far corner, trying to get it underneath. That tipped away as Sealer got her hands on the pass. Sealer over center court. Sealer avoiding some pressure by Hicks. Sealer centered up, now goes to the far wing. Trying to get it underneath. Clark tips it away. Sealer gets it before it goes out of bounds. Now Peters works her way around the arc to the near side. Kicks it over to Paul Licky. Paul Licky on the far side of the paint loses the ball. That's going to go over to Pioneer. 2:07 left to go here in the first half. Pioneer 14, Monroe 6. DeWolf has it. She takes her time, talking to coach. Now coming down the far sideline. Stewart to her left. DeWolf right at the edge of the blockades. As she gets a screen by Clark on the right-hand side, but cuts to the near side. Trying to work her way in, kicks it in the corner to Bogan. Bogan coming down the baseline, over to Stewart. Stewart, top of the key, gets it over on the far side to Hicks. Hicks trying to get it underneath. Now back to Bogan, over to Stewart. Stewart gets down into the paint, puts up a floater, won't fall. Clark with the rebound. That falls away. Hicks gets it over to Bogan. Bogan up to the free throw line, over to DeWolf. DeWolf, travel call. 1:28 left to go. Monroe ball. 14 by Pioneer, 8 by Monroe. Sealer brings it up over center court. Sealer over the blockades. Kicks it along the far sideline to Bustle. That tipped away by Clark. Grabbed by DeWolf. DeWolf switches directions. Knocked away the other direction by Bustle. Bustle has it at the three-point line. Bustle kicks it over on the far side. That put in by Sealer. Sealer makes it Pioneer 14, Monroe 10. 1 minute, 3 seconds left to go before halftime. DeWolf over center court. DeWolf on the far wing. Steps back, gives herself some room to work. Pioneer in no hurry. 50 seconds left to go before halftime. Sealer comes up to apply pressure. DeWolf steps back right on the blockades. Now double team coming up by Monroe. DeWolf dribbles out of it. Works her way around the arc. They're still applying pressure. Bounce pass over to Bogan. Bogan to Stewart in the near corner. Monroe with pressure. Back to DeWolf. DeWolf working her way around the arc. Kicks it back to Bogan. Bogan hands it to DeWolf. DeWolf bounces the ball, coming to her right-hand side, centered up, top of the key, over to Bogan on the near wing. Back to DeWolf. DeWolf moves it over to Hicks, then gets it back. Bogan, near wing. Back to Hicks. Hicks pulling up a three, and she nails it from the far wing, just outside of the three-point line. As Pioneer 17 and Monroe 10. At the buzzer, as we're getting ready for the second half, it is Pioneer 17, Monroe 10 here from the main gym on the campus of Pioneer High School. As we're getting ready for the start of the second half. Hicks to inbound, gets it to DeWolf. DeWolf over center court. DeWolf comes up to the three-point line, over on the near side to Hicks. DeWolf gets it back. DeWolf dribbles to her left on the far wing, gets in the far corner for Hicks. Hicks puts up a three and nails it! 7:45 left to go here in the third. Pioneer 20, Monroe 10. As Bustle brings it up court. Bustle kicks over to Peters along the far sideline. Peters dribbling down into the corner, gets it back to Bustle. Bustle gets a screen, moves it over on the near side, puts it underneath the Peters. Peters puts it up and in, as it was a good feed by Leroy. 7:24 left to go here in the third. Pioneer 20 and Monroe 12. DeWolf brings it over center court. DeWolf looks to her left. Hicks there, bounces over to Hicks along the far sideline. DeWolf gets it back. DeWolf calling out signals. Bogan down into the paint. DeWolf comes to the near wing. Now heads back Center, top of the key. DeWolf steps back, kicks it over to Turman. Turman on the near wing, right on the arc. Turman dribbles, gets it back to DeWolf, centered up on the key. DeWolf kicks it over to Hicks. Hicks, bounce pass over to Clark. Clark on the edge of the paint. Clark takes a step in, and the hook wouldn't fall. Gets the rebound, puts it up, still wouldn't fall for her. Now Sealer coming up as Kelly got the rebound. Sealer over center. Sealer on the far wing, kicks over to Peters along the far sideline. Peters underneath the Bustle. Bustle puts it up. Wouldn't fall for her. Clark with the rebound over to DeWolf. DeWolf quickly up court. DeWolf approaches the arc. Now puts up a three. DeWolf nails it. Nothing but net. 6:22 left to go here in the third. Pioneer 23 and Monroe 12. Sealer brings it up. Approaches the arc. Sealer along the far sideline. She puts up a long three-pointer. Rebound grabbed by Turman. Turman underneath, double-teamed. As they're going to say Turman pushed off. So Turman gets the foul. As when she got that rebound, she was quickly double-teamed by Monroe. Peters to inbound underneath their own basket. Peters bounce pass. That up to Kelly, blocked by Clark. That'll make them inbounded again. Clark has been a beast underneath the net. Coming out to Sealer. Sealer works it around the arc, gets it over to Peters. Peters into the paint. Peters puts up a sidearm shot that wouldn't fall. Over to DeWolf. DeWolf coming up over to blockades. DeWolf over center. DeWolf gets onto the far wing. Into the far corner to Hicks. Hicks over to Clark. Turman has it at the free throw line. Turman hands it off as DeWolf into the paint. Now kicks it off to Bogan. Bogan with the three-pointer. That wouldn't fall for her as it bounced off the rim. Coming the other way is Bustle. Bustle over center. Bustle kicks to her left. Moves it over. Coming in is Leroy. Leroy. That off Sealer's foot. Sealer gets it back. Peters has it, working her way around the arc now along the far sideline. Is Leroy. Back to Peters. Peters with a long two-pointer. That bounces off. Kelly tracks it down. Kelly gets it to Peters. That's stolen away by DeWolf. DeWolf coming in. DeWolf puts it up and in as they were trying to get it to Bustle, and DeWolf made a cut for it. Grabbed it. Monroe inbounds it. Coming up the near side is Bustle. Bustle over center court. Bustle on the near wing, approaches the three-point line, hands it off to Peters. Peters trying to work her way down along the baseline. Pass over on the far side. Getting that to Leroy. Over to Kelly. Kelly gets it back. Centered up is Bustle. Bustle 3 feet outside to the arc, hands it to Peters. Peters trying to cut in towards the paint. Peters double team, puts it up, and it rolls around and down. 4:30 left to go. Left in the third. Pioneer 25. Monroe 14. DeWolf brings it over half court. DeWolf comes to her right-hand side, working her way around the arc. Now comes the other direction. Screen by Clark. That moved over to Hicks. Hicks into the near corner to Stewart. Stewart kicks it out around the arc to Bogan. Bogan finds Hicks. Along the far sideline is DeWolf. DeWolf gets it back to Bogan at the free throw line. That hook up by Clark. Bounces around and down. 4 minutes left to go here in the third. Pioneer 27. Monroe 14. Bustle brings it over center court. Bustle puts it into the near corner for Leroy. Gets it back. Kelly with the screen. Bustle bounces it to Kelly at the free throw line. Jump ball as Clark able to get her hands in the way and tie it up. That stays with It's going to stay with Monroe. They inbound it. Bustle has it on the far wing, kicking into the far sideline. Peters with the three-point shot. That goes high. Paulicki with the rebound and puts it in. Pioneer 27, Monroe 16. 3:30 left to go here in the third. DeWolf bringing it up as Bustle providing some full court pressure. DeWolf along the near sideline calling out signals. Bryant's to her left. Kicks over to Clark. Clark over to Hicks. Hicks keeps it from going out of bounds. Hicks dribbles to the right. They'll call a double dribble. That will go over to Monroe. 3:14 left to go. Pioneer up by 11. Peters inbounds it over to Sealer. Sealer Over center court, being watched by Hicks. Sealer gets it over on the far side to Paul Licka, then gets it back. Sealer coming down the baseline, trying to kick it out. There's a shot by Leroy, who nails it just from in front of the free throw line. 2:36 left to go here in the third. Coming up to Wolf as it's Pioneer 27, Monroe 18. Handoff to Clark. Clark outside the rim, outside the arc, over to Bryans. Bryans in the far wing, trying to get it to Clark in the paint. Clark makes a nice post move, puts it up and in. Pioneer 29, Monroe 18. Back to 11-point lead. 2:33 left to go in the third. Steeler brings it up over center, being watched by Stewart. Steeler kicks it on the near wing, over to Bustle. Bustle works her way around the arc. Bounce pass over to Peters along the far sideline. Peters trying to go down the baseline. That one just over the basket. Now trying to get it in Leroy. That blocked by Clark. Over to DeWolf. DeWolf coming the other direction. DeWolf over center. Clark. Center gets it to Clark underneath, and they'll call travel, and it will go the other direction. 2:10 left to go here in the third. Trouton to inbound. Pioneer up by 11. Sealer brings it up court. Pioneer 29, Monroe 18. Sealer just on the edge of the block ace. Kicks it over to Paul Licka. Paul Licka at the free throw line. Getting it over to Trouton. Trouton along the far sideline. Tried to slip away from her. She got it back. Over to Sealer on the near wing. Sealer getting it over to Paul Licka. Bounce pass into the corner. Now trying to get it over to Leroy in the paint. Leroy had that knocked away by Clark. They call a foul on Clark. That will be Pioneer's second foul of the half. 2 on Pioneer, none on Monroe. 29 for Pioneer, 18 for Monroe. Up and in for Leroy. It's a 10-point game for Pioneer, 29-19. Leroy with another shot, dribbles it up. Puts it up. Bounces off the back of the rim. Trying to get that Paul Licka. Paul Licka with the rebound. Over to Trouton. Gets it over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky on the near wing. Dribbles. Working her way around the arc. Hicks trying to give pressure. Kaminsky along the far sideline. Getting it over to Sealer underneath. Bounce pass. Gets it back. Trouton with a shot that grabbed by Clark. Clark over to DeWolf. DeWolf coming down the far sideline. Over Sever. DeWolf to the arc. Bryants on the far sideline. Back to DeWolf. DeWolf underneath to Clark. Clark. Bounce pass over to Stewart. Stewart into the near corner to Hicks. Stewart on the near wing. Long cross court pass to Bryants. Bounce pass into Clark again. Clark quickly double teamed. And they're going to call, believe it was a travel. That will be 1:08 left to go on the third. Pioneer 29, Monroe 19. Sealer brings it up. Sealer dribbling to her left. Bounce pass over to Paul Licka. Paul Licka into the near corner to Kaminsky. Kaminsky, her pass went right into DeWolf's stomach. They're going to call it a knee. Out of bounds. Monroe to inbound. Trouton gets it to Paul Licka. Paul Licka right into the paint. Charge taken by Turman. Turman got herself set underneath. So ball over to Pioneer. Paul Licka called for the charge. Bogan to inbound to DeWolf. 2 fouls on Pioneer in this half. 1 on Monroe. DeWolf brings it down the near sideline. Over center. DeWolf with Kaminsky in front of her. DeWolf dribbling from the near side to the far, stops, centered up, bounce pass over to Bryans. Bryans on the far wing. Bryans looking for a place to go with it, hands it off to Turman. Turman at the top of the key. Turman bounces it over on the far side to Atkins. Atkins over to Bogan. Bogan, top of the key. Bogan dribbles up, 20 seconds left to go in the third. Bogan getting it over on the far side to DeWolf. DeWolf right on the far sideline in front of her own bench. DeWolf gets into the near corner, coming down the baseline, puts it up and puts it in! Bogan came from the far sideline, right down the baseline, put it up. Pioneer 31, Monroe 19. That into the near baseline, put up by Paul Licka, wouldn't fall down. That is the end of the third. at the end of 3. It is Pioneer 31, Monroe 19. We're listening to Pioneer. Women's varsity basketball. Bryans the inbound. Bryans gets over to Hicks. Hicks over center court. Hicks coming down the near sideline, being watched by Kaminsky. Hicks over to Turman. Turman on the far wing. Turman over to Bryans. Bryans just the right-hand side of center, works her way around the arc, dribbling. Troughton on top of her. Over to Atkins. Atkins over to Turman on the far wing. Turman back to Atkins, centered up. Atkins over on the near side to Bogan. Bogan calling out signals. Bogan dribbling into the paint. Bogan hands it off to Atkins. Atkins over on the far side to Hicks. Hicks gets it to Turman, centered up. Turman coming down into the paint, handing off to Bryans. Bryans kicks over to Atkins. Atkins along the far sideline to Hicks. Hicks coming, working her way around the arc. Hicks bounce pass over to Turman on the far wing. Right on the three-point line. Turman putting the dribble down, trying to get to the baseline. That pulled away by Paul Lickey. Paul Lickey moves it over to Sealer. 7:07 left to go here in the fourth quarter. Pioneer 31, Monroe 19. That ball skied and put in by Troughton. Troughton nails down a 3. That makes it 31-22 Pioneer with 6:49 left to go. As they call a charge on Hicks. Second foul on Hicks, 3. As they call push-off. Pioneer 31, Monroe 22. Monroe to inbound, baseline right. Troughton looking to inbound. Troughton inbounds on the near side to Kaminsky. Kaminsky with Bryans in front of her, goes over center. Kaminsky working her way down to the baseline now, kicks it back to Sealer. Sealer over to Kaminsky in the near corner. Kaminsky bounces it over to Leroy. Leroy puts it up. They're going to call a push-off on Turman. 6:36 left to go. And it's going to put Leroy to the line. Pioneer 31, Monroe 22. Pioneer 4 fouls in the half, one for Monroe. That put up and in by Leroy. Pioneer 31, Monroe 23. Leroy with one more, eyes the basket, puts it up, puts it in. 7-point lead now for Pioneer. Coming back the other direction, here comes DeWolf. DeWolf coming down the near sideline. DeWolf over center, calling out signals. Sealer in front of her, bounce pass over to Clark. Clark over on the far side to Hicks, along the far sideline. Hicks puts it underneath to Clark. Clark in the paint over to Bryans. Bryans puts up a long shot, bounces off the back of the rim. They'll call a foul on Bryans, going for the rebound. That will go at 6:14 left to go in the fourth. Troughton to inbound, baseline right. Bryans substituted for Stewart in. That over to Sealy. Sealing over center. Sealing around the arc. That knocked away by Bogan. Grabbed by Kaminsky. Kaminsky works her way around the arc, trying to get into the far sideline. Dumps underneath to Leroy. Leroy bounces. Puts Clark to the floor. That over on the near side to Sealing. Sealing outside the arc. Now there's a whistle. Monroe calls a 30-second timeout. 7-point Pioneer lead here. 5:49 left to go in the fourth quarter. The ball inbounded, knocked away as Sealer gets it ahead to Kaminsky. Kaminsky underneath to Leroy. Leroy has that ripped away. Excellent job by Hicks. Ahead to DeWolf. DeWolf into the paint. DeWolf puts up a floater. Won't fall. Trying to get the ball. DeWolf gets their own rebound. DeWolf steps back 5 feet outside the arc. Comes to the near side. Hands it off to Bogan. Bogan has Troughton in front of her. Gets it over to Clark. Clark centered up. Clark over to Hicks along the far sideline. Hicks trying to come in. Whistle. They'll call a push-off. Kaminsky gets her first foul. It's 5 fouls on Pioneer in this half, 2 on Monroe. Inbounded by Hicks over to Bogan. Bogan working away from the far side to the near side. Bounce pass, that tipped out of bounds by Sealer. Pioneer to inbound, 5:11 left to go. Peters comes in for Paul Licky. Brines to check in for Pioneer. Brines comes in for DeWolf, giving DeWolf a break with 5:11 left. 7-point lead for Pioneer. Stuart Dimba just to our right. Sealer in, trying to guard the inbound pass. That over to Bogan. Bogan dribbles to her left, then to her right. Bogan on the near wing, over to Stewart. Stewart working away around the arc. That over to Brines. Brines, top of the key. Brines dribbles to her left, hands it off to Clark. Clark on the far wing. Inside the paint, Clark puts it up. They'll call a charge on Clark. That'll be Clark's 4th foul. 4:53 left to go in the 4th. Pioneer 31, Monroe 24. Sealer has it around the arc. Sealer for a long two-pointer, 18-foot two-pointer. Leroy with the rebound. Leroy puts it up. And they call a foul. Maya Hicks called for the foul. That will put Monroe in the bonus. 7 fouls in this half for Pioneer, 2 for Monroe. Leroy in. Puts it up. Bounces around the rim and goes down. 6-point lead now for Pioneer. 4:38 left to go. Here. Leroy puts up her second shot, and that falls down. It will not. Actually, that rims out. Coming up the far side, Hicks has it. Hicks getting it over to DeWolf. Gets it back. Hicks puts up a three-pointer. Won't fall, but putting it up, getting the rebound is Clark. Pioneer 33, Monroe 25, 4:22 left to go here in the 4th. Bringing it up is Kaminsky. Kaminsky over center, coming down the far sideline. Now she gets into the paint, trying to get it over to Leroy. Leroy puts it up off the side of the backboard. DeWolf gets the rebound. DeWolf ahead to Hicks. Hicks bounce pass into Clark. Clark puts it up and in. 4 minutes even left to go here in the 4th. Pioneer up by 10 again. Ball inbounded. Monroe has it in their own backcourt. As Sealer comes up, Stewart on her. Sealer approaches the arc, kicks it on the far side to Peters. Peters trying to make her way down the baseline. DeWolf gets the ball as it got away from Peters. That up ahead to Hicks. Hicks, long cross-court pass over to Bogan. Bogan trying to get it underneath the Clark. As that's grabbed underneath, that's going to go to Monroe. As Monroe calls a timeout to grab possession as they dove to the floor. Ball inbounded by Peters. Coming up the other direction is Bustle. Bustle into Hicks. Hicks trying to back out, and Bustle and Hicks make contact. They call the foul on Hicks. That will be Pioneer's 8th foul. Bustle shooting 1 and 1. 3:34 left to go here in the 4th. Bustle steps to the line with an opportunity to cut the lead to 8. Bustle spins the ball, puts it up, puts it in. 9-point lead by Pioneer. One more shot for Bustle. Bustle bends at the knees, puts it up. That bounces off the back iron as Bogan comes up. 9-point lead for Pioneer. As DeWolf has it, throwing it in. As the ball coming the other direction for Monroe. As they're going to call Stewart for a foul as the ball went off of a shoe underneath. And as they were coming down, Sealer stopped right in front of Stewart, and Stewart kind of ended up going over top of her. 3:23 left to go. Sealer puts it up, rolls all the way around and down. Next foul on Pioneer puts Monroe in the double bonus. as it is now a 7-point lead for Pioneer. Hicks gets it to DeWolf. DeWolf moves it over to Hicks. That quickly ahead to Bogan, back over to DeWolf as Monroe putting on full court pressure. That along the far sideline to Bogan. Bogan trying to get down into the paint. That kick back out to Clark. Clark over to DeWolf on the near wing. DeWolf trying to watch it into the near corner to Hicks. Hicks working away around. Bogan gets it to DeWolf along the far sideline. DeWolf backs up, getting a little bit of room. Pressure coming, and there's a push by Bustle. And it's only the third foul for Monroe, so Pioneer will inbound just in front of their own bench. As Hicks gets it to Bogan. Bogan dribbles, comes over to the near side. There's another foul. As that one is going to go on Peters. That's going to be their fourth foul. Pioneer will inbound again from the far sideline. Couple more fouls to go before Pioneer is in the bonus. Bounce, and Bogan goes down hard as she was trying to go for the ball, got tied up by Peters. She went down hard on her knees. She popped up. Looks like she's all right. Good to see. Hicks is going to bring that in. That's 5 fouls. Monroe, and out to Bogan. Bogan fouled. And it's going to be 6 fouls. One more, and Pioneer gets to shoot 1 and 1. So that over to Bogan. Bogan with the inbound. Now Monroe giving a little bit of room. Bogan comes to her right-hand side. Bogan working her way around. Over to Stewart. Stewart along the baseline. Stewart comes from the near corner. Handing it off. Trying to get to Bogan. Double team. Stewart gets it over to DeWolf. DeWolf centered up. Steps back just outside of the blockades. 2:30 left to go in the fourth. DeWolf dribbles between her legs. Comes up to the near side. Bustle makes contact. That is going to put DeWolf to the line. 2:24 left to go here in the fourth quarter. Pioneer 35. 28 for Monroe. Pioneer looking to stretch the lead back out. Right now it's 7. Shooting 1 and 1 from the line is DeWolf. Bryans comes in for Bogan. So you have Clark, Stewart, DeWolf at the line, Hicks, and Bryans in for Pioneer. Sealer, Leroy, Bustle, Troughton, and first one goes down, as well as Peters in there for Monroe. Pioneer now with the 8-point lead. DeWolf looking to make it a 9-point lead. DeWolf puts it up and puts it in, gets nothing but net. Pioneer stretches the lead back to 9. 2:24 left to go. Bustle brings it up the near sideline over center court. Bustle flips it over to Sealer. Trying to get it is Stewart. Stewart actually got her hands in the way. That's going to be a jump ball. Stays with Monroe. As coming in, that into the back zone, inbounded to Bustle. Bustle kicks over on the far side to Sealer. Sealer coming up on the far wing, bounce past to Bustle, centered up. Bustle trying to put her elbow down, get in. Over along the baseline, pulling that up is Troughton. That goes back behind the net. That'll go over to Pioneer. Out of bounds on Monroe to Pioneer. 1 minute, 59 seconds left to go here in the fourth quarter. Pioneer up by 9, 37-28. Bogan comes in for Pioneer. Bryans goes out. Little offense for defense. Hicks trying to get it in. That knocked away by Monroe. Bounce pass over to Peters. Peters into the paint. Puts it up. Peters that off the front of the rim. Clark with the rebound. Clark is grabbed and fouled. That will put Clark to the line. 151. Leroy called for the foul. Her first. It's going to be 8 for Monroe. Pioneer shooting 1 and 1. Clark to the line. Clark looking to make it a 10-point lead for Pioneer here. Puts it up, wouldn't fall. Troughton with the rebound. Kicks over to Sealer. Sealer coming down the far sideline. Sealer steps up to the arc, gets it over on the near side to Bustle underneath to Leroy. Leroy puts it up, won't fall. There's a whistle blown. That's a foul on Pioneer. They'll be shooting 2. Hicks gets called for the foul. So Trojans now in the double bonus with 1:40 left to go. 9-point lead by Pioneer. Leroy looking to cut into it. So they're going to 1 minute 40 seconds left. First one didn't go down, but a little bit of lane violation, and they should let her reshoot that first ball. As the officials having talk with Bedford. So Hicks is disqualified as that's her 5th foul. She goes off. And now they will bring in Brines. So the first one she missed, they'll have her. Okay. Goes down. So it is now an 8-point lead by Pioneer. Brines. Bounce pass into Bogan. Bogan trying to get around. Kaminsky. Kaminsky has it over to DeWolf. DeWolf right center court. DeWolf coming down the other direction. DeWolf passes over to Bogan along the far side. Kaminsky fouls her. 1 minute, 28 seconds left to go. Pioneer 39. Monroe 29. 8-point lead by Pioneer. Bogan to the line. Kaminsky comes out. Leroy in for Monroe. Bogan puts it up and bounces off the front of the rim. Troughton with the rebound, coming the other direction. Sealer over center. Sealer approaches the wing, kicks down the near corner to Peters. Peters trying to get pop and stop from 15 feet away. Brines with the rebound. Brines gets it over to DeWolf. DeWolf over at center. DeWolf coming into the baseline, kicks it over to Stewart along in the near corner. Back to Clark, back to Stewart. Stewart working away around the 3-point line. Fouled by Sealer. 1 minute, 5 seconds left to go. That's the 9th foul, so one more. 1 and 1. Nope, that should be 10. Yep, that's the 10th foul. So this is shooting 2, Stewart. Rolls around, not down. Stewart will get another one. Right now it's an 8-point lead for Pioneer. Stewart looking to try and make it a 9-point lead as she dribbles and eyes the basket. Puts it up. Bounces off the front of the rim. Grabbed by Sealer. Sealer coming over center. Sealer approaching the 3-point line. Gets in. Stewart with the block. They'll call her for a foul. 57.6 seconds left to go. Sealer at the line shooting 2. First one won't fall. Still an 8-point lead, 37-29 for Pioneer. Kaminsky comes in for Leroy, again doing a little offense for defense. Sealer with her second shot. Toes the line. Bends, puts it up. Rims out. Rebound grabbed along the far side by DeWolf. DeWolf grabbed and fouled. 53.1 seconds left to go here in the fourth. Pioneer by 8 points. DeWolf looking to shoot 2 here. And up and in. That pushes it back to a 9-point lead. The Wolf with one more coming. They bring in Leroy. Kaminsky goes out. For Monroe. DeWolf puts it up and puts it in. Only touches Twine. Inbounded. Tipped out of bounds. And Monroe will inbound again. It's Stewart trying to get a piece of it. 52 seconds left to go. Pioneer up by 9. Inbound underneath. That goes over to Sealer. Sealer coming down the far sideline. Stewart providing full court pressure. Over center court. Sealer has it. Sealer coming down that far sideline. Approaches the arc. Sealer. Bounce pass inside. Trying to get it to Leroy. Leroy over to Peters on the near wing. That back centered up. Over to Bustle. Bustle on the edge of the paint. Puts it up. That bounces off. Tipped by Troughton out of bounds. And that goes over to Pioneer. And Troughton is down hard. She went down on her knee. Oh, hopefully she is all right. She pops up. She's holding the knee all right, but she pops up. Everyone plays their guts out, but you do not want anyone hurt on here. 27.7 seconds left to go. Pioneer up by 10. Inbounding to DeWolf. Monroe pulls back the pressure as they'll let Pioneer bring this up. Now Bustle comes in right at center court to pressure DeWolf. DeWolf along the near sideline now. Dribbles all the way over along the far sideline. DeWolf just inside of the 3-point. And they're going to call that timeout. Or no, did they? They must have called it a foul underneath or double dribble. Coming over the other direction, coming in is Bustle. Bustle into the lane, puts it up. Traveling called. 6.4 seconds left to go. Must have been traveling the other way too. I just didn't see the signal. They didn't announce any foul. Bryan's the inbound. Pioneers still up by 10 points. 6.4 seconds left to go. 4 seconds. 3 seconds as Bogan has it off of the inbound by Bryant, and that is the end of the game. Pioneer goes to 2-2 in the SEC Red.